Hi, Rob here with Kincaid Speed Shop. Here to show you an overview of my gauge panels for 60 to 66 C10 trucks. These are not made for GMC. I'm working on a version for that. The GMC doesn't use these frames to mount them into the dash. Yeah, that'll be coming in the future probably, along with other types of cars that I get a hold of. These come in black and white gauges right now. And when you receive them, they'll have these shipping frames on them. You just cut them off. And just throw these away. They're just to protect the face during shipping. Like I said, they use the original frames that go in the dash. They attach just like the stock gauges. Sometimes you have to kind of make sure they're seated all the way around. And then you want to retain your original screws for the gauge panel. They just screw into the back here, just like the original ones did. I believe these are similar to a number 6 wood screw. They will work, but they are not the same. I haven't been able to find the exact thread pitch. If anybody knows, please leave it in the comments. If they know where to source these, I'd like to include them in my kits. Yeah, so panels here, they sit nice and flush. The 6 gauge is 64 to 66. The 5 gauge is for 60 to 63. When you wire these, you pretty much connect all the blacks together, all the yellows together, and all the reds. Black is ground, red is 12-volt power. I believe yellow is the lighting switch. When you turn on the lights, it turns the backlights on. These are all low power. They're all LED, so they don't need a lot of power. So you can just connect them all together to a 16 gauge wire. That's plenty to power them all. They all come with their own sensors that for each gauge, and they're matched to the gauges. The fuel level gauge comes with a sensor. I believe it's a 240 to 33 ohm resistance sender. You just install that in your tank, or possibly yours already uses a similar resistance. You can use that. There's an oil temperature sensor, or water temperature sensor, sorry, and an oil pressure sensor. On an LS, this goes in the original oil pressure sender as a switch. It's in the up top rear end of the engine. There's a fitting there, but it's electrical connection. It's not really used if you're doing a swap. I just cut the top off, and it cuts the electronics off, and then you can pull the electronics out and you'll see a small hole in the top, and you can drill and tap that for an 1/8 inch NPT, and then this will screw right in. There's 2 connectors on here, G and W. You don't use W. It's for a warning light. The blue wire on the oil pressure gauge connects to the G, and then it just grounds through the case of the sensor. On the speedometer, it's a GPS speedometer, makes it very easy to hook to anything. None of this stuff, it matters what engine you have, you just have to put the sensor, fit it on your engine. I've had questions about the GPS speedometer. This one's very fast. When the very first time it connects, it takes about 20 to 30 seconds. And then after that first time, every time you turn the car on, it takes about 2 seconds, 1 to 2 seconds to establish a connection. Works pretty good. The tachometer, it comes with these filters. I believe the 24 is for points ignition. and 26 is for an HEI, like a MSD ignition setup. If you're using an LS, you probably need a pull-up resistor. I believe it's a 100 ohm resistor connected from 12 volt power, and then the other end connects to the sensor wire just in parallel, and that pulls the signal of the tach signal up, because on an LS it's very low voltage signal, and almost any aftermarket gauge has that problem with the LS. If you put a pull-up resistor, it should fix it. These gauges have blinkers and high beam in the speedometer. I have to get that question too. They're there. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Thank you.